everyone. Welcome to another interesting episode of Munchies and Thoughts. My name is Phathanani. I am your chef. Today, I am joined by my beautiful friend. Darling, please introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? And what's special about you?
Thanks, Chef Phathanani. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Ornella Anzelotti. I'm a mom of three, very proud mother of three children, 2 boys and a girl. Career-wise, I work in marketing. I also am very spiritual, so I do have another career in which I do tarot card readings.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I do come from a background of being a Sangoma, so I do that as well.
My friend, just wait right there. Sangoma.
That's it.
Okay.
I actually stayed in Soweto for 4 months while I twisted. But that's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day, but it's very interesting. And you know why it's interesting? It's September. Inyanga yetu. You will understand me very well. So yeah. Oh, Ornella, thank you so much. You are welcome in this kitchen. It's no more my kitchen now. It's our kitchen. So which means, honey, we are talking.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited as well. Babu girl bami emakaya nizwilege ukuthi ngiphethe uOrnella. Today's topic, theme, domestic violence. It's a very sensitive theme. I hope you are ready.
I'm as ready as I can be. It's as healing as it is. I haven't shared my story for about 3.5 years, probably how we're going to speak now. The last time I shared the story in detail was while I was in the courtroom telling my story. So it is going to be hard, but I'm ready, and if I can help one person, my job is done.
Don't worry, you have Chef Phathanani. We will talk, my darling. Uzoba right. Nizwilege babugil bami makaya ngiphethe uOrnella, a beautiful woman. My darling, thank you so much. You know what, ne? Just to appreciate you for accepting the invitation to be here in the kitchen with me, chef, of course. I will be preparing a roast. It's a lamb one. It's one nice. With roasted vegetables. So now, let me just do the cooking. But before I do the cooking, can you give me an overview, as well as Ababugil Makaya, about domestic violence? Like, what is it? Like, what is this thing?
So, you know, it's really difficult, and it's a very difficult, sensitive topic, like you said. 1 in 3 women in South Africa are affected by domestic violence. You know, it's very easy to get involved with an abuser, and we often find ourselves stuck in a relationship when it's too late. People always say, why don't you just leave? You know, it's not as easy. Sometimes we are emotionally abused to the point that we actually think we're the problem. You know, people often talk about being a victim. We're not victims, we're survivors. We survived a story, and, you know, sadly, there are unfortunately women that have, you know, succumbed to domestic violence, and they pass away and bad things happen. I, myself, come from my mother, who was abused by her husband, and sadly she did pass away because of the abuse. It's very real in South Africa. It's difficult. There's so many issues. There's you know, there's so many different stories. You know, abuse comes in many forms: physical, mental, emotional. It's just like, let's talk the story. Let's tell my story, because we have different.
My friend, I can see you are going far and far. Kodwa ngiyacabanga ukuthi ababukeli bami emakhaya bazwile ukuthi abuse, it comes in different shapes.
Correct.
Physical.
Correct.
Emotional.
Yeah.
You can name them.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you lost your mother.
Yes.
You know, it's interesting and sad at the same time. You know, to see our parents being abused by our fathers or their lovers, because it can be your father, it can be someone that they're in love with. Yeah. The sad part, even my own mother was in an abusive relationship. Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, when you are sleeping and then you hear her crying. And then when they think you are sleeping, and when you're not sleeping.
And it affects you.
Anyway, let's not finish everything. So now I'm gonna prepare sauce that I will wrap it on my roast. Nice. So I'll be using oregano, ne?
Yes.
and then I will use rosemary. I love rosemary, darling. And I will use black pepper as well, and I will use my soya sauce as well as my olive oil. So I'm just gonna mix everything here.
Perfect.
Sharp. So yeah, I'm done rubbing this lamp, honey. You can see now, it's looking beautiful. So what I will do now, I will just gonna put a foil and put it in oven for 3 hours. Wow. It will give us enough time to talk. Then these vegetables will go in here after 3 hours for 30 minutes. Then we'll be able to eat. So we have the whole day. So yeah, my friend, the food is in the oven now. I hope you are ready. It smells divine. But before I forget, Mngani, I've got this juice. There's this trap.
Right name.
It says everything. Ne? It's my friend's product. Guys, please do check them. This is a beautiful juice. You know, I'm not a reader, but I need to read. This one is called Eye Opener. I'm watching you. Let me just check. Yeah. So, eye opener, it's carrots, ginger, celery, sticks, granny, apples. As a cooker, I know already good celery, vele. Not everyone, yeah. So, and then the benefits of this juice, it's good source of fiber, good anti-inflammatory, promotes healthy skin. My goodness, my skin is gonna be beautiful. Let me just drink it. It's beautiful. But anyway, business of the day. Don't you want some?
I would definitely love one.
Which one, my friend?
I'm just going to go for this one just because it looks delicious. Let's see which one.
What?
It's got pineapple in it.
Oh, it's called Tropical Squeeze. But this is yours. You can read when you get home.
So much. Let's have a taste you.
So, yeah, this is beautiful.
Lovely.
So now, business of the day. Business of the day. So you did mention a lot from the overview. So I want to understand, you lived in that kind of relationship as well?
For 5 years.
For 5 years?
5 years.
Just take me through. What happened? Like, just give me, like, because it's interesting, sad, painful.
Very.
Yeah.
So my abuser and I were in a relationship for about 5 years. It didn't start in the beginning. It never really does. It probably took about a year. There were signs, definitely signs. I always tell people I failed to see those signs. They're usually very good in making you feel very good about yourself. They're very charismatic. They're loving. You know, they show you this wonderful side, and I think you sort of get blinded by it. Anyway, a year later, the signs really began. The abuse really started in about 2014. And we sort of got engaged in February 2017.
The abuse started in 2014.
Actually.
And then you saw the signs, as you've mentioned, that they will make you feel good. But everybody want to feel good. You know, when
wants to feel good.
Yes.
Of course.
You know, when I always say, when they are telling me that I look good, when I get to wherever, maybe at work, for an example, I change the move, my darling, because I feel good. Yeah. But anyway, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you get in this, what it is it's a codependent relationship, and we become as sick as the abuser, right? We we need to take accountability for our role we play in staying as long as we did. And that's, a lot of people ask us, why didn't we leave? Why can't you just leave him? Why? It's not so easy. You get intertwined and you get equally as sick as the abuser, because you become, there's a part that you play with this narcissistic person. And I love the fact that we have this term now where we can say, okay, he's a narcissist. But I also find a lot of people using that word very willy-nilly, and there are different narcissists around. Abusers generally are narcissistic, and they show those behaviors. What actually happened was in 2014, so my very first incident, I'm going to just go into it, is I got into this relationship. A year later, the abuse started. We already had our first child. So I've got 2 kids with my abuser. He then, with the abuse that was happening with me, he had hit my child in the face for the first time. What I did, and what I always advise people now...
Sorry, the child that he hit is his child?
It is his child. She was 10 months old.
When he hit her?
When he hit her.
Is it her?
Her.
Yeah, when he hit her.
Yes.
The child was 10 months old.
She was 10 months old. October 2014, I remember the date very clearly. He threw her in the cot and he hit her in the face. I took a photo of my daughter's little face. And I always advise everybody in an abusive relationship, if there's anything, I know it's so hard to leave when something like that happens. You're not going to leave the first time it happens, probably not the second or the third or the fifth. But if I can give any advice to anybody, start building a case deep down inside. You know it's not right. So start taking photos. I went to
when
the
all
police,
these things are
when
happening.
all these things are happening.
Okay.
Because we're not ready to leave them at that point.
But Onela, just to I'm sorry, this is so... Okay. Onela, why, I will say why I will include myself as well, we stay in an abusive relationship. It's because when they hit us, when they are doing all these bad things to us, we feel more loved.
You know, in a very sick and twisted way, you might not feel the love then, but when they come back to say, I'm sorry, I love you so much, please don't leave me, I need your help, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. They are so good. They are so good.
And then, you know, it's what we mentioned at our own good. You know what, when someone is telling me that I look good, I smell good, I am handsome. I said to you, I even changed the mood.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, you mentioned that they are very good when it comes to words. Yeah. So, they will just... You'll be blinded.
You're blinded. You are completely blinded because there's a part of you that is maybe damaged from your childhood. You suffered trauma yourself. You watched abuse yourself. You know nothing other than that. You've seen that yourself. Do we want to go into an abusive relationship? Of course not. We don't. Like, people ask me why. Why did you... your abuser doesn't come to you and show you, I am going to be your abuser, I'm going to be the one that's going to nearly kill you, I'm going to be the one that's going to, you know, they don't show that to you. You don't see it in the beginning.
And then, you know, because there's no way that if someone, they come and show their bad side, then you
go you're going to like jump
go.
into it, hi, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
No, you go into it because this is all you know. You're comfortable. You're familiar with this unhealthy way, actually. And they show you so much love and you feel, you know, maybe I didn't get this love before. This is amazing. I like this feeling.
You know, I love it when you said there are things that lead individuals to be in a certain circumstances, to say. You mentioned it might be your childhood trauma. I'm so glad you mentioned that because we can see people out there. They are damaged. They are doing things. And you'll ask yourself, but a normal person, I don't think that it will do such thing.
Yeah.
then now not everyone will understand and not everyone will think like me and you.
Yeah.
You understand? Because it might be where I'm coming from. Yeah. So now tell me, my angel, you saw the signs.
I did actually. When I look back now,
yeah.
I saw the signs. You know, I listened to a talk show once about relationships, and the guy, and I remember it very clearly, and he said, relationships don't start bad. They don't begin. There's no, they don't turn bad, sorry. They don't become bad. They started bad to begin with. We just failed to see the signs. You know, and it was so powerful because I'm like, when I look back now, actually in that first year, there were little telltale signs that if I'd actually been aware the way I am aware now, I would have taken myself out of that relationship early on. And it's sad. It's really sad.
It's sad, Onela, and it's I will say it's so funny because we are talking now. We want to help someone that is watching Images and Thoughts. I always say I'm not doing this show to be loved or to be famous or to be a celebrity. I'm doing this show. I'm going to topics that are very important. The aim is to help someone. It can be 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter as long as someone will stand there and say, "No, what? After watching Munchies and Thoughts, after watching an episode where Phathanani had Onela, I've learned this and this and this," because this is a very sensitive topic. This is something that most people, they run away from it. You understand? And we hide from love. That Onela loves me. You know, when I grow up, I remember I'm 36 years old now. I'm from KZN. I remember when boys will be talking. Yes, I'm one of them, but yeah. So when boys will be talking, I remember very well, I'll never forget, like they will be talking, even the old ones, like, you know what, I love my girlfriend. Then I'm like, okay, love is beautiful, we love. Then I go and be with my girlfriends. Because I've got a lot of girls who are my friends. I spend a lot of time with girls. We talk.
Yeah.
And, we will be talking. Yes, me, this gay guy is there, of course. You'll find I'm the only one there. And then everybody's just girls. Like they are talking. My boyfriend loves me because, if I don't do things right, my boyfriend beats me. Then I'm like, I don't say anything. I'm like, okay. So which means if my boyfriend doesn't beat me, he doesn't love me.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they've got that thing.
It's a very warped idea of love. That's the love we think we know. That's the love we think it is. This is love. And it's not. It's not. And that's why we play a part in this abuse. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's not because of us. He did that to us. Yeah. Because that is what we start thinking. It's just we have a warped idea of what love is. You need to heal yourself from your past trauma, your childhood trauma. We need to look at ourselves because a lot of the times our idea of love is already warped to begin with.
Yes.
But it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. You know what? I need to tell them, guys. It's not your fault. You just need to look. Where everything started. You understand? And don't, because we blame ourselves. Onela, I was in a relationship. My first lover when I came to Pretoria, I was very young. I was here to study, naive. And I met this guy who was had a fiance. And, he will do things. I'm like, okay, but I love him. So yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, we just love. We don't actually look at all the things that come with love,
So my angel, tell me now, you did mention that you saw the sign and there was an incident where that's really touched me, and I like, yeah.
Yeah.
So he did hit the child. What did you do? Did you have any supporting structure then? Or you were just on your own and this abusive person that we forgive now, but life goes on?
So the thing is, we are so embarrassed about the situation that we have found ourselves in.
Lovely.
That we do not want to tell people. We keep it to ourselves because we're like, oh, okay, I'm so embarrassed. It's embarrassing. You know, people aren't going to believe me, blah, blah, blah. We are not alone, actually. We feel alone, but there are actually support structures, be it our family. If it's not our family, there are support structures out there that help women. There are shelters for abused women. There's many. We're just not ready to go there yet. And we all are in that cycle of like, we're not ready yet. But what I did do on that day, because my children are my life, my absolute life. And if there's anything, be it loving yourself and doing it for yourself eventually, or doing it for your children, eventually you'll get to that point. You will get there, because deep down inside there's a voice telling you this isn't right. Right? Even though we can't get out and we're not ready to get out yet. I wasn't ready to leave him yet, although he did what he did. I did take a photo of my daughter. I went to the police station. I wasn't ready to open up a case, but what I did is I told the police, I want to write an affidavit on this day and let's take a photo and whatever. And I hid this thing from 2014 at work in my drawer so that he wouldn't find it. And I started doing that because I knew one day, if I ever got the courage to leave this man, that I would have some proof of everything. So if I can give advice to girls out there, men out there, if you're in an abusive relationship, start building that case. Whether you use it ever or never use it or whatever the case may be, just start doing this, yeah. And don't take it home, because they look for, they look for everything. Know your abuser's red flags. So start knowing and don't
love what
push.
You're saying. You know why I'm saying that? I'm loving this because you said you were not ready to leave this man.
We neither are.
But you were building. Because remember, Gutsi, you remember that, what if that man killed you? Mm-hmm. Were you not scared of those?
Always.
But you stayed.
But I stayed.
My love, I think we need to because it's going very fast and I'm loving it. Mm-hmm. How is that? Mm-hmm. And it's very divine, isn't it?
It's lovely,
yes,
lovely. Go and have a look.
So yeah, let me take the food.
It smells delicious.
Lovely. Let me see.
Getting hungry, yeah.
So yeah, Onela, I hear you, my darling. So tell me, when was enough? Like where you like, you know what, ne? I'm enough now. I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. I'm enough now. Everything now, you know what, ne? I'm done. And what was the reason for you to say that? This is your food.
Oh my word, that looks divine. So 25th of July, 2017.
Don't mind me, I will be cutting what you
do your thing. 25th of July, 2017 was my turning point. That was the day that I decided to leave. It was 5 months after we had actually gotten engaged.
July which year?
2017. 25th of July, 2017 was the
you
day
still
I left.
Remember?
Of course, it is ingrained in me.
Yeah.
That was the day I nearly died. I nearly died. Let me tell you, when I tell you I nearly died, he nearly strangled me to death with my GHD cord. It is a hair straightener. You can imagine a cord being pulled on my throat. My kids were in the room with the nanny, screaming, crying. They didn't know what was going on.
Or the kids?
My kids were in the other room with my nanny, and I was stuck in our room with my abuser for what felt like 10 million hours. He tortured me, he threw me, we had an ensuite bathroom, he threw me over the toilet seats into the bath, he threw cupboards at me, he threw glasses at me. It was a day I don't want to remember, but it is a day that I will never forget. It was my turning point because as he strangled me, I sort of lost consciousness. But because I had lost my mom to her husband who murdered her, I was like, I cannot do that to my children. And I prayed to her. I was like, please just be there for me. Like, I can't die like this. My children cannot walk in the room and see me. And suddenly, he just looked at me and he let go of everything. He let go of me. He let go of the cord. He grabbed the cord, pulled it out of the wall. Let me remind you that the cord was plugged in and on. I had burn marks holding the GHD that was burning my hands. I had blisters all over and burn marks all over my hands. He ran to the bathroom and he threw it in and he just ran down the stairs and he left. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? The nanny then came into the room. She was in tears. She held me. I was crying. I didn't know what happened. I just said, just pack the stuff. It was enough time for me to just get out of the house. And something told me, if you don't leave now, you will die next time. Like, this is your chance. Like, this is your chance. To this day, I believe my mother intervened. Like I said, I'm very spiritual. I believe in these things. I know my mother looks out for me, and I know she's there for me all the time because I feel her. I know this is not what she wanted for her daughter. And I left. And I went to work looking the way I did. I went to go drop my kids off at school, and I went to work. And they immediately, obviously, took me into the boardroom because I could not be there. But that was the safest place for me to be, is at work. And they told me to do what I need to do. And I phoned
So did they know?
They didn't know. Nobody knew, because you hide these things, you are embarrassed, but there were people that I did speak to that knew about some sort of abuse. But remember, we downplay it. We don't share what's really going on.
You know what made me cry? I'm raising daughters.
I know.
I'm raising daughters. I was raised by a woman. And when you said earlier on, it might be our childhood trauma. There were times where I hated my mother.
Yeah.
But now, me being matured, me being an adult, me being a parent,
You get
I
it,
just
right?
realized so many things. No, I was not fair to her. At the same time, I was young.
Yeah.
It's when you said earlier on, we can't blame the abuser. It might be something bigger than that, looking back where they're coming from. So I'm thinking of my kids now. I would say, what if? But anyway, back to you.
And that's exactly what I thought. Because as hard as it was, Phathanani, it was so hard, let me tell you, to lay criminal charges against the father of your children was the hardest thing I ever had to do, because this is the father of your kids. Do you want the father of your kids to go to jail? What do you tell your son and your daughter or your children, or what do you tell them? What I realized was that I need to show my children.
Okay, sorry, it's well cooked, so.
Oh!
So it's just the way I want it.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't even need the sauce here.
Very, very
So
yummy.
yes.
So, yeah, it was a case of, I want my sons to know this is not okay. You do not do things like this. And I wanted my daughter to know that you do not tolerate this from anyone, as hard as it is. So, funny story is I contacted my lawyer that had actually helped me get divorced to my first husband.
Okay, the abuser.
No, I was married before.
Oh, okay.
And she, believe it or not, you know what? Sometimes I say, the people you least expect are the ones that usually help you. So share your
You can
story with
have
other
more.
people. Oh, thank you.
Just gonna do it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm gonna give you a fork now. Yeah, carry on.
She was the first person I phoned.
Your
did not
ex-husband?
No, my
Your
lawyer.
lawyer.
I didn't even phone my family. I was too embarrassed.
Okay.
I was too embarrassed.
Okay.
Obviously, my nanny knew. I phoned my lawyer, and she told me to come immediately to her offices, and I went, and she burst into tears, and I was like, it's not like we were friends or anything.
Yeah.
You know, we knew each other because of a divorce.
Yeah.
And she did the most amazing thing for me. She told me to bring the kids, and she was going to hide me for a week. She hid me and my children for a week. I stayed with her for a week. My abuser did find me, because that's what they do. They literally come looking for you. And he found me, however he did. We opened the case, and the case was officially opened at the Randburg courts.
So you decided to open the case?
I opened the case. As hard as it was, I was like, I'm going through with it. And the problem is, women open cases, or men open cases, and they drop them. And it happens again. So if there's any advice that I can give anyone, when you're going to do this, follow through. As hard as it is. It took 3.5 years before he was actually convicted. You know, I've told you one story and maybe 2 stories with my daughter, but there were many stories through the 5 years.
Goodness. Yeah.
I went through emotional abuse. I went through physical abuse. I was tortured. I was locked in houses. I was told, I wonder what it would be like to wake up to a dead body if I killed you. You know, I was emotionally, he would emotionally traumatize me. He was a drug abuse. He was a drug addict. He abused drugs. He went to rehab many times. So I'm not excusing the behavior, but it just added to the very sick behavior of his drug addiction and the extreme of it. There were times that I even caught him watching porn with my daughter, who was less than a year old. It was very sick and twisted. People ask me, why didn't you leave? You cannot leave. You cannot leave in the beginning. They make you so scared to leave. But anyway, this was the day, and I never looked back. And as hard as it was, it took me 3.5 years. I was in and out of court for 3.5 years. He was convicted. He was found guilty. He got a 5-year suspended sentence. I did get a protection order, which took a year to get. They give you an interim one, but the actual protection order took a year, which I think our system needs to change. It takes so long. I know there's people that go and they make false accusations, but for the people that are really in dire straits, need of these things, it's quite sad that it took a whole year for me to get a protection order against somebody. I literally had to hide the whole time.
You know what's so, I will say it funny now. You taste it, yeah. That's why I'm talking, because I want to give you a chance to taste it. You just mentioned something good. Sometimes you'll open the case and drop it. Mm-hmm. When I was in an abusive relationship, I opened the case and I went there. I'm the one who was taking food for this man, like, you know what, then I dropped the case because he just brainwashed me, and I'm like, okay, this is my person. I want to get married, and I love this person. But now, looking back now, I realize, you know what, it's what you said, Oguti, that where we're coming from. Yeah. Because the problem don't just start now. No. There's something triggered everything. Yeah. But anyway, how is the food? It
is delicious. Thank you so much. It is so divine.
I'm so glad if you love this food. Yeah. So now, Onela,
it's like
too much. Thing. The one I'm trying to get, sister, it's very hot, my friend. That's what I'm trying to say in English.
More weddings. More weddings.
Now, tell me, my friend, did you get any help, like therapy? Did you go for counseling? And the counseling, did they help you, or you just need to help yourself?
So during the abuse, I didn't, because it was just, they isolate you from your family and friends. They don't want you to have any help. I wasn't allowed to see friends. Wasn't allowed to see my family. I was completely just in his little thing. Didn't go for any treatment. After this, and during my court case, I was fortunate enough to work for a very good company who offered ICAS. Mm-hmm. It's for free for friends and family, and I was able to speak to a counsellor over the phone. They then motivated for 10 free sessions. I had no money. I did not have money for counselling. Counselling can be expensive, but it's not to say you can't. There are many options, free counselling. They motivated so that I could go see a psychologist, and I then started to see somebody and started to heal. And to this day, I'm not healed. I still go through, I suffered from depression. I went through anxiety. I could not even stand in a queue where somebody was behind me. There were times where he would strangle me. He would often attack me from behind. I would even leave shopping centers because I'm like, I just can't deal with it. I went through nightmares. I went through hell, and I still sometimes do. I even sometimes, if I smell a perfume he used, we have triggers. Our brain remembers, our brain remembers, our bodies remember the trauma that we faced. It just starts getting better as soon as you start healing. So spiritual healing I do on myself every day, all day. I went through the program, the ICAS program, which I was fortunate enough to go through. I had power, people opposing women abuse, come and support me during my court case, which was amazing. They were absolutely phenomenal. They didn't really do cases in my area because I was at the Randburg Magistrate Court. But they came and they supported me, and they were really there for me. It's amazing. There is a lot of help out there for people. We just need to reach out to people. I was not comfortable with reaching out to my family. I was actually more comfortable with reaching out to strangers, believe it or not, and do what you need to do. It's a everyday thing. I will not heal overnight.
Wow. Onela, babukele emakhaya nizwile ke uOnela ekhuluma ukuthi it's not an everyday thing. It's not an overnight thing. Sorry. I always say, Onela, you can't build a Rome overnight. It's like a career. You need to go to school. You need to go for internship. You need to get someone who is your mentor to assist you for the dream.
Correct.
So, like right now, you mentioned things that are very important. So, my darling, how's the food?
It is so divine.
So divine.
This
menu was like, especially for you, my angel.
Delicious,
so,
thank you.
Now, we've been talking. So, I want you to, any advice that you can give anyone that is watching Images and Thoughts now, anyone that might be heard about Images and Thoughts, never watch Images and Thoughts, and then when they go and watch it, like, you know what, Onela was there. Just, the floor is yours. I mean, I want to eat and drink.
Eat. So if there's any advice that I can just give anybody that finds themselves in an abusive relationship is, like I said, just build a case if you're not ready to leave, because oftentimes we are not ready to leave. We need drastic things to happen for us to start realizing, wait, If you need to go to the police like I did, for example, and just not open a case, but have sort of those affidavits, keep it at work, keep it somewhere where it's not at home, it's not where your abuser might see it. Know your abuser's red flags. If you know something makes him angry or her angry, just try keep things as calm as you can for the time being. You got to take that action. You got to try and help the situation. Don't aggravate the situation, just as hard as it is. Come up with a code word. We have smartphones now that are very smart, where you can actually have a signal to somebody where you're in need of help. If it gets to that situation, tell a friend or a family or whatever the case is. Your word could be ordering pizza, phoning and I just want to order a pizza, and so if you do pick up the phone, because oftentimes he would be standing, watching, like, who are you phoning, who are you that? Okay, it's easy to say, I just want to call, let's have some pizza, Be clever.
Wow.
Be clever.
Wow.
And so phone that person and be like, I'd like to order a pizza, and you could be phoning a friend, right? And they know you need help.
Something wrong.
Okay, so you got to like start being smart about it. And I always say a relationship, if you are in a relationship that causes you anguish, just get out. I'm not saying that person is an abuser. A relationship should be coming together and you should be building and you should be happy in this relationship. Yes, we have fights and stuff, but if a relationship is causing you anguish, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Just get out. Don't even see where things go. It doesn't go well. It gets worse. It gets worse. As often as we hear these things. What do I want people to learn from my story? It's not your fault. You did not cause the abuse. You deserve to be treated and loved. You deserve a good life, a good relationship. You aren't alone. Like I said earlier, you feel alone, but you are not alone. There are people out there that will help you. And just know, like, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay. It's embarrassing, but it's okay to tell people, this is what I went through. Have a voice. I went through this year and I overcame it. And how embarrassing is it? Yes, it is, but I'm here to tell the story. And you may be that person to motivate somebody to leave an abusive relationship. So if that's the only advice I can give people, I know it's easy. Oh, go open a case, leave him. We can give all that advice. No, it's hard when you're in that relationship. It's not as easy as just leaving.
Onela. Yeah.
Let me eat.
I still need to do my job. While you are eating. Nizile ke Onela uchazile okuningi. I picked lapho nalapho. I hope now as a viewer you did learn something from Onela. Number one, build your case if you are not ready to leave. Because no one will force you to leave. The decisions comes from you.
Exactly.
Same time, it's okay to be vulnerable. I like that because I will go to men. Male people, they don't want to show their feelings when it comes to that department of vulnerability because of this masculine, that I'm a man. Yeah. So it's okay. Again, what I want to say, what you mentioned, everything, it might not start now. There is a reason looking back. Yeah. So I hope you guys are enjoying Munchies and Thoughts and enjoying Onela and myself, of course. We are eating now. Onela, we are about to close the show now. Yeah. Yo, my darling, I am touched. I've learned a lot. And thank you so much. So now, the message, like to yourself, the young one though, not the old one now, not the Barbie doll now. I know you put a card here, a letter.
It is.
To my younger self, love me. Love, please.
So, I'm going to read this here because it is a letter after all.
Yes.
To my younger self.
Oh, yes.
I think did I tell you I started writing a book?
No.
About this whole situation.
No.
I might just name it To My Younger Self, Love Me.
Oh, lovely.
I'm thinking of it now. It just came to me.
Okay, yes.
So, dear younger self, you are a survivor who will help others. Don't grow up too fast. You will experience things that will urge you to do so. Don't let them. You are worth so much more than you think. Never be embarrassed about your hardships. They will make up who you'll become. The words you speak to yourself become what you believe. So choose your words carefully. Don't fall back into old patterns because they're familiar. We know this. And I know you are scared, but you can handle this. Love me. And that's it. There's nothing more.
There is nothing more. I saw you. You came with beautiful gifts. bags
did.
there. Tell me about them.
I did. So I just, whether it's for a little boy and a little girl, there's a little onesie, little pajamas, little slippers for any little boy or little girl, and some school shoes as well. I'm sure you'll know what to do with them. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Babugel Bam Emakaya is that time where I need to say goodbye. Before that, I want to tell you something. The main objective of Munchies and Thought is to give back to Mothupa Foundation. As you can see the shoes, it makes me happy to see those kids smiling.
Definitely.
It makes me happy when I give back. And I can only do that through your help and whoever that is always assisting me when I ask.
Thanks.
Owakwambatha umntwana uShandu kaNdaba umthiya ngenkomo uthi goodbye. We will see you guys again on another episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you.